DDSN works with providers across South Carolina to ensure that individuals with brain injuries have access to services they need. We spoke to Tate Mikell, a brain injury survivor. This is his story.
After I graduated from the Citadel and I became a City of Charleston police officer, I was on one of my days off, and I'd taken the family dog out to the Citadel beach house. I ran to Fort Moultrie and back to the beach house and brought her home. I was having lunch with my parents. I started getting dazed and confused. I told myself that I needed to get home, and I drove to my house, and I was vacuuming up on the second floor of my house in my bedroom. I started getting a real bad headache. So I said to myself, yep, something's definitely wrong. I need to get some help. And I ran downstairs, grabbed my cell phone, dialed 911. Pretty sure I passed out while I was talking to the operators. Next thing I remember was hearing a thud, and I woke up, looked at my door, was in bed in my wall, and the cop was standing in the doorway, and I was real mad that he kicked my door, and then the EMTs came in over his shoulder. And I said to myself, wait a minute, I'm a cop too, and I'd kick a door in to help somebody else out. That's what he did for me, so I'm gonna give him this one. They took me to East Cooper Medical Center, and they did some scans and said, look here, man, you got a real big, ugly looking aneurysm on your brain, and we think you'd feel better at MUIC. So I said, okay, let's go. They put me back on the ambulance, and it ruptured between the two hospitals. And I do remember about 3 or 4 times I saw Jesus Christ like I was dreaming, and he said, I'll make you whole again. I died in the ambulance 4 or 5 times when I got to the emergency room at MUIC. I had a neurological psychologist at one time, and he said, more than likely what happened is you were born with that aneurysm on that vein in your brain, and it just chose that particular time to blow up.
Tate reflected on his life as a dedicated police officer before the incident took place.
I did just about anything. I was just your run-of-the-mill street patrol officer, going from call to call, as well as what I could see on my own while I patrolled around. Yes, I was known by pretty much everyone in the East Side, which is where I worked in Team 1, and was probably one of the most dangerous and toughest parts of the downtown Charleston area.
Tate opened up about the challenges he's faced since his injury.
Yes, I've had to give up driving because of my lack of vision on the left side, not giving me enough vision to safely drive a vehicle, as well as my inability to think about and come up with decisions quick enough to safely drive.
He spoke about the discrimination he has encountered from others.
I think sometimes they see me in the chair and think I just can't do anything because I'm in the chair. Over at the Blue Water gas station, where I used to go and get beer and some other things, I had an incident one day where Skipper, my dog, actually moved my joystick and made my chair move, and I broke the glass in the door and cut my leg. And the manager called his area manager, and the area manager said I could not come back in the store again unless I'm accompanied by someone else. It's just agitating. I have to go so much further to get things that I want or need than being able to just make the quick run over to the gas station and back home. I have to remember that I'm not the same person as I was before. Like when I go to brain injury conferences, I take my power chair to move around between the workshops because the people who are able to walk normally, whereas I'm not able to, that's safer and more courteous to them for me to use that chair.
Tate discussed the valuable resources that helped him adjust to his new life, along with the achievements he's incredibly proud of.
It kind of really started coming together just after I started my outpatient therapy at East Cooper Medical Center, and I was in my speech therapist office, and I saw some information on her corkboard with a number on it, and it had something about a group for people with brain injuries, and I asked her if that was something that I should look into, and she gave them a call, and she said, oh yeah, they said you need to come and talk to them. And that was the Trident Head Injury Support Group that I got into, and from there I got into HSCI, the Head and Spinal Cord Injury Department of the Charleston County DDSN. Well, I found out from the Brain Injury Association of South Carolina about therapeutic horseback riding, And the first time I ever rode a horse, I was still in a manual wheelchair. They rolled me up the ramp on the mounting block, and 2 men physically picked me up out of the chair and put me in the saddle of the first horse I ever rode. Even as an Eagle Scout, I never rode a horse till after my brain injury. So I think the horseback riding, Miracle League baseball, and also learning RX, working on cognitive skills, all three helped very much with my problems. With the Miracle League baseball, it's people of all disabilities, children and adults both. So everybody has their own problems that they're dealing with trying to play in the game. And we kind of support each other and help each other out. But I went up to the Vocational Rehabilitation Evaluation Center in Columbia, and they had me do some aquatic therapy while I was there. And they also saw me swim a couple of times. And they said, what you need to do is when you get back home, you need to get in a pool and swim. And my mother and I would go over to the Jones Center pool and I would swim. And one day the coach put his hand in the lane that I was swimming, and I stopped and stuck my head and said, "Please tell me you'll swim on the Special Olympics swim team for me." And then in 2014, I was asked by the state of South Carolina to go to the National Special Olympic meet in New Jersey, and I went up there and won 3 gold medals.
Tate, Mikell, South Carolina.
Finally, Tate shared what he has learned about himself in the wake of his injury.
It taught me that I learned growing up as a high school cross-country and track athlete, as well as a college cross-country and track athlete who also started the triathlon team at the Citadel, that you're going to have to break a sweat and feel a little discomfort every now and again if you want to get any better.
Up. 5. Up. 6. Nice job, Tate. Come on, come on. And finally, he's going to finish with 3 Turkish get-ups. So he's working lower body, strength and stability. Turkish get-up is a great practical, very functional exercise for Tate. Nice job, Tate.
I'm real big on telling people with other disabilities, not just brain injury survivors, that look here, if you're not willing to feel a little discomfort every now and again and break a sweat, you can't expect to get any better and do any better or more than what you're doing now. I heard it from a person at the support group. They said, after I had my brain injury, it was like a new chapter in my life. So I like to tell people that it's kind of the same thing with me. It's a whole new chapter started in my life after my brain injury.